wanted to give a quick Monday motivational word to everyone, and that is to change your state. Change your state. Change requires work. Healing requires courage. But look at these definitions of these words. And we use them every day, but we don't really think about, we don't overstand them at times. But state. A state can be a condition that something is in at a specific place or time, or your state can be governing territory. So think about that with that dual definition. What is governing you? Think about what a governor does to an engine. It restricts it, or it allows it to go at a certain speed. So are you moving forward with faith? Or are you moving backwards? Because oftentimes we repeat these same cycles in our life. True wealth is generational. It's breaking that captivity, breaking those bonds. And we repeat the same cycles without thinking about growth. This whole chance that the human experience is about growth. So change. Change is a lot of different things. Change, it can be external, it can be internal. But if all you're doing is putting on a new external change, it's going to come out in the wash. It's going to begin to fade. It's going to grow old. Change can also be replacing one thing with another. But we don't want to do that either, because, it's just like when people are in addiction, oftentimes they replace one habit with another. And you can always be controlled with habits and fear. So dismiss that fear. Dismiss those habits and break those chains and move forward and claim your victory. But you have to understand who you are. That requires taking time to change your state and understanding who you are. But oftentimes people are stubborn. And I want to talk about that word real quick, stubborn. Think about when you stub your toe in the middle of the night. It's painful. It's painful. When we're stubborn, one of the definitions of stubborn is to prevent cure, prevent growth. Born. You're preventing that rebirth. And we must be born again spiritually. We have to wake up in order to change our state. And we have to do something different. In recovery, we say if there is no change, there is no change. And that's very true. Look at Jacob in the Bible. If you go to Genesis, it's Genesis 32. Genesis 32. When he wrestled with God. This change, he would not let go. And he said, I'm not going to let go until you bless me. And when you're going through that valley, when you're going through those hardships, when you're going through those struggles, don't be stubborn. Don't prevent your growth, because just like when you stub your toe in the middle of the night on the bedstead, it's going to cause some pain if you're stubborn. But you got to be open to change. You have to understand your state, where you are, meaning what speed you need to move at, what steps you need to take with faith. You have to understand you need to move forward, and you have to understand that you need change. Change is also currency, coins. Think about that. A $100 bill has to be broken before it can be made into change, right? God can fix things that are broken. But if you have too much pride and you can't admit that you're broken, you're never going to receive that change. But I am very thankful that 1,000,000 broken little pieces can be made whole, and my state can be changed. Don't feel bad if you're broken now, because that just means that you have a healing in store for you. You have something better in store for you. But when Jacob was wrestling with God, he said, I'm not going to let go until I receive my change, until I receive my blessing, until I receive a transference of state. When you're delivered, just like when someone delivers a package, it gets from one place to the other. So I might be down bad right now, but I'm in movement. I'm in constant motion. Everything has an equal or opposite reaction, right? Everything is always in, with energy, thermal energy, something has to move. Think about friction. There's some work required for those molecules to move and that heat to be transferred from one thing to the next. But it's worth it. And everything is in constant motion. But Jacob would not let go until he received his blessing. And also, God changed his name. He said, you're no longer going to be called Jacob. You're Israel. Think about that word, Israel. God is real. Change is real. Growth is real. You don't have to stay the same. You can be a completely new person. And where did this take place? It's a place called Peniel. What do we have in our brain? We have a pineal gland. the middle of our brain. And what that thing does is it controls how we perceive light and darkness. See, some of us can't change our state because we don't understand light and darkness. And we're intercepting darkness and thinking it's light. See, just a little bit of light does away with a whole lot of darkness. But if you don't know what's good for you, see, some of us are feeding ourselves the wrong thing. We're allowing the wrong energy into our life. You know, that pineal gland, when I see that sun creep through my window in the morning, just like that sun is creeping through this window now, it perceives that and it wakes me up. It creates a change. It makes me alive to what I need to go do. It motivates, it increases, it perceives, and it makes me understand the actions I need to take for the course of that day. Some of us have never had that moment where we need to hold on until we receive our blessing. Some of us have never had that moment yet to where we really depend on God for that blessing. He's been blessing us all the while, but we just don't understand it. But we need to hold on until we receive our blessing. Because when you go through that and you acknowledge, see, when you truly acknowledge that, that's when you're properly receiving light. What are we called to be? Salt and light. But if we lose that savor and if we lose that light, then our testimony's no good. But we are salt and light. But that pineal gland, just like this wonder, this miracle happened of him waking up and becoming Israel. And, before that, Jacob had been a man of deception. He had been a man of materialistic things. And at that moment, he understood that true wealth is spiritual because he was awakened. Oftentimes people call the pineal gland our third eye, our spiritual eye. So are you asleep today or are you awake? Do you understand what's good for you? Because there's so much of the deception in the world that we let just waste our time. And you only get one shot at this human experience, so why not make the most of it? I thought about the old kid song we sing, row, 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 row your boat. It says life is but a dream. Life can be a dream. Life can be, life is what you make it. But if you're living in deception, if you haven't changed your state, if you're not seeking growth, if you haven't had that moment like Jacob did at Peniel where he understood how to perceive light and darkness and started understanding what was good for him and understanding that he needed to hold on to Jehovah until he received his blessing, a dream controlled by someone else is a nightmare, my friend. So are you living in a nightmare? Or are you living in Israel? God bless you. You have a great day.